Hey campers, my name is Mell Scalzi and I'm the registrar here at the Florence Griswold Museum, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about our archives. So if you've ever been here before, you know that the museum collects a lot of paintings and prints and sculpture by a lot of the artists that came through and stayed at Miss Florence's boarding house. But what you might not know is that we also collect photographs and journals and sketchbooks and letters from these artists as well. And we keep those items in our archives. And all of those types of artifacts help us when we're trying to figure out what it was like to live in Miss Florence's boarding house, or what it might have felt like to live in Old Lyme at the time and paint here, and even what it was like to be friends with a lot of the artists who lived in the boarding house or stayed in the boarding house and lived in the area. It shows us a little bit about their friendships and all of those sorts of things. Very interesting stuff. And so my favorite part of the archives, by far, has to be our letters and correspondence. I don't know about you, but my favorite thing in the world is to get a letter in the mail. It just feels so special. Emails and text messages and even phone calls weren't always around in the times of these artists staying in Miss Florence's boarding house. So what they did was they wrote letters. They wrote letters to their friends, to their families, to their boyfriends and girlfriends. They even to each other throughout the year when they weren't together painting in Old Lyme. So you might not think that letter writing is really creative, but I'm here to tell you otherwise. I've pulled a couple examples of my favorite letters in the archives just to show you that writing a letter can be just as creative as painting a painting or drawing a picture. So the first thing I want to show you is this letter, which was written by artist George Bruestle to his wife Emma. It was written in 1900. So as you can see from first glance, this letter is super fancy. As you can see, he writes Emma's name really pretty up at the top with a couple different colors. And the most striking part of this letter is this little miniature portrait in the corner here. And he's actually illuminating the first letter of the first sentence in the letter. And what do I mean by illuminating? Well, illuminating comes from something called an illuminated manuscript, something that was popular in the medieval times and a little bit earlier than that. And an illuminated manuscript was a book or a piece of text that was really important. Sometimes it was a Bible or other things, and someone would actually write down the words, and another artist would come through and illustrate it almost. They would put fancy drawings in the margins, or like this letter from George Bruestle, take some of the first letters of each section and really make them beautiful with miniature portraits and things like that. So you might think that this letter, being so fancy, is really an important letter, that it says something really important, that maybe George was telling Emma something that meant a lot to him. But what's really funny is when you actually read it, that's not the case. He's really just telling Emma what's been going on, talking about this or that. And my favorite part of the letter is when he mentions to her that the heat these days is hardly bearable. Every evening when I get home, I jump in the bathtub and remain there for 1 hour. Even there it is not very cool, the water being so warm. Not all letters need to look as fancy as the one that George Bruestle did. For example, take this note from Harry Hoffman. As you can see, it's typed on a typewriter. But you'll notice in the margin here, as Harry Hoffman often did, he has this little character that he created called the cuckoo Lulu bird. As you can see in this one, he tells his friend Henry White that this cuckoo Lulu bird is named Eleanor. And in this example from another letter by Harry Hoffman, you can see that he drew 2 cuckoo Lulu birds, and he makes mention that they're twins, but one of them is bigger than the other, so you can't call them identical. So adding those little drawings, even if your letter is typed on the computer or even handwritten, really makes your letter special and way more creative. So why am I telling you all of this? Well, obviously, it's to show you that letter writing is so much fun. So my challenge to you this week is to write a letter to a family member or a friend. Remember, you can write about anything you want. You want to write a story? Go for it. You want to send a friend an inventory of all the colors in your sock drawer? You can do that too. You can write a poem. You can tell a secret. Or you can just tell your friends what you had for breakfast this morning. And once you've figured out what you want to write, take that letter to the next level and do what George Bruestle and Harry Hoffman did. Take colored paper. You can grab pens and pencils and all sorts of fun art materials, stickers, and draw pictures or circle different words. It's totally up to you, and you can be as creative as you want to be. And in order to make your letter even more creative, you can even make your own envelope. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And if you have a lot of fun writing one letter, why not write multiple? You might even get one back, and that is the most fun of all. As I said, I'm going to show you how to make your own envelope. So first thing that you need is some fun paper, preferably something square. First step is you're going to take that square paper and make it into a diamond. You're going to fold the paper in half and make a crease down the middle. You're going to open it up, you're going to turn it, and do the same thing. You're going to fold it in half, and crease it down the middle. Then you're going to open it up again, and you're going to take the first corner and fold it right into that center line that you just made. Then you're going to take the other corner and do the same thing so that they're equal. Next, you're going to take the bottom, and you're not going to go quite up to the middle to meet those other 2 points. You're going to leave a little bit of room and just make a triangle crease here. Then, as you're done with that, you're going to see these 2 corners. You're going to fold the first one up like this, so it looks like that. And you're going to do the same for the other corner. Now, you're going to take a glue stick and you're going to put some glue here and here. And when you do that, you're going to then fold up the bottom and crease here. And now you should have the base of your envelope. Then you're going to put your letter that you just spent all that time writing in there and fold down that large triangle so that it covers and keeps it sealed inside. And now you have an envelope.